The sun bathed the small village of Ijebu-Ode-Oke in a warm golden hue, casting a long shadow beneath a towering mango tree that lined in the dusted paths. Life here moved at its own steady pace. At dawn, the villagers woke to the sound of crowing roosters and rustling leaves, heading to their farms or fetching water from the clear stream that flowed through the heart of the village. It was a time of tradition where laughter echoed through the market and elders shared stories beneath the heavy branches of the oldest mango tree, its ripe fruits scenting in the evening breeze. In this little village was a young lady named Abiyayiwa. Known for her very kind heart and boundless determination, she was different from other women in her village of her age, not just because of her beauty, though she had a dark glowing skin and bright eyes that often caught the attention of her admirers. But while many were content with their lives as their parents had planned it, Abiyayiwa dreamed of more. She wanted to become a teacher to help the children in the village to learn, to grow, and to build a brighter future for themselves. And she also wanted that for herself. But Abiyayiwa's home was not as peaceful as the village itself. She lived with her stepmother, Shade, a woman who cared very little about dreams or kindness. Shade was very greedy, always scheming ways to gain more wealth and power. To her, Abiyayiwa was nothing more than a burden to control and a tool to use for her own selfish plan. Abiyayiwa's father, Maruyi, was a quiet man who had grown weak under Shade's control. Though he loved his daughter, he often stood by silently, too afraid to challenge his wife's authority. This left Abiyayiwa to face her stepmother's harshness alone. Still, she never let despair take hold of her. She held on to her dreams, even as the day were filled with endless chores and her stepmother's sharp command. What Abiyayiwa did not know was that her life was about to change forever, setting her on a journey of hardship, courage, and transformation that no one in the village could have predicted. One quiet evening, Shade called Abiyayiwa into the small living room of their home. Sitting across from her stepmother, Abiyayiwa felt uneasy. Shade wore this kind of smile that never met good news. Her father, Maruyi, sat silently in the corner, his head bowed as if he already knew what was coming for her. Abiyayiwa, Shade began, her voice sharp but firm. I have found the perfect match for you. Abiyayiwa looked up. Match? Yes, Chief Adegoke has asked for your hand in marriage. Abiyayiwa's heart sank. She had heard of Chief Adegoke, a man old enough to be her own father, known for his wealth and influence in the region. But I don't want to marry him, Abiyayiwa said softly, her voice trembling. She looked at her father, hoping for his support, but Maruyi, her father, avoided her gaze. Nonsense, Shade snapped, her tone growing harsher. Do you think you are too good for a man like Chief Adegoke? He is rich. He will take care of you, and our family will benefit greatly from this union. You should be grateful for this opportunity that I have brought onto you. Abiyayiwa's chest tightened as she realized her stepmother had already made up her mind. But I don't love him, Ma, she protested. He is stronger now. I don't even know him. Why will you betray me to? Why will you make me marry him? Ade waved her hand dismissively. Love doesn't put food on the table, Abiyayiwa. You will marry Chief Adegoke, and that's final. Abiyayiwa turned to her father one last time. Daddy, please help me. Daddy, she pleaded, tears filling her eyes. You know this isn't right. Say something now. Maruyi, her father, shifted uncomfortably in his seat, but said nothing. He glanced briefly at Shade, whose stern expression silenced any courage he might have had. Your stepmother knows best, he muttered, his voice barely audible. A wave of despair washed over Abiyayiwa. She wanted to scream, to run, to do anything to escape this life that was being forced upon her. But in that moment, she realized she was alone. Shade's greed and her father's weakness had sealed her fate. As Abiyiwa left the room, tears streaming down her face, she vowed to herself that no matter what happened, she would not let this break her spirit. Even if the world seemed determined to control her life, she would find a way to hold on to her dreams. The day of the wedding finally arrived too quickly. The village was alive with the sound of drum and singing as people gathered to celebrate what they saw as a grand occasion. The news had spread far and wide. Chief Adegoke, the wealthiest man in the region, was marrying the young and beautiful Abiyiwa. The villagers whispered among themselves of how lucky she was to marry Chief Adegoke. But Abiyiwa felt no joy in her heart. Instead, she felt like a bird trapped in a cage, its wings clipped. She sat in her room, dressed in an expensive white gown adorned with gold embroidery, a gift from Chief Adegoke. Her hair was braided and decorated with beads. Her face was carefully painted with traditional pattern. To everyone else, she looked like a bride ready to begin a happy new life. But as Abiyiwa stared at her reflection in the mirror, she could barely recognize herself. Her eyes, once filled with dream, were now clouded with sorrow. Shade entered the room, beaming with pride. "Look at you," she said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "You will make a fine wife for Chief Adegoke. Do you see how we have planned this for you? You should thank me, Abiyiwa." Abiyiwa said nothing. Her heart was too heavy to respond. Moments later, her father Mariyi stepped into the room. He looked at his daughter, guilt written all over his face. He said nothing to stop what was happening. Instead, he simply muttered, "It will be fine, my daughter," before quickly leaving. The ceremony began in the village square with Chief Adegoke proudly at the center. He was dressed in rich traditional attire, his grey beard neatly trimmed, his face showing the confidence of a man used to getting what he wanted. As Abiyiwa walked towards him, her hand trembled. She felt the weight of every step. The crowd cheered and clapped, but she felt utterly alone. The marriage vow were spoken, and before she knew it, the ceremony was over. Abiyiwa was now Chief Adegoke's wife. The crowd erupted in celebration, but Abiyiwa felt no joy. She looked at the man she was now bound to, a man who, though polite, felt like a stranger. As the festivities continued late into the night, Abiyiwa sat quietly, lost in her thoughts. She felt trapped, like her life no longer belonged to her. But even in her despair, a small spark of determination remained. She whispered to herself, "This may be my life now, but I will not lose myself. I will stay strong. I will find a way to rise above this." That night, Abiyiwa lay awake, her heart heavy but her spirit unbroken. This was only the beginning of her story, and deep down inside, she knew it was not the end. As though they were two strangers living under the same roof, Abiyiwa, however, was not one to sit idly by. She refused to let her life be defined by loneliness and boredom. She had always dreamed of helping others and found a way to make herself useful during the days that went by. She began visiting the workers of Chief Adegoke's estates, farmers, builders, and craftsmen who worked tirelessly in the field and workshop. At first, the workers were surprised to see her. They had always known her as the chief's wives, someone far removed from their daily struggle. But Abiyiwa's kindness quickly won them over. She will bring them cool water during the hot afternoon, help carry food for them, or listen to their concern with a compassionate heart. Sometimes, when they were in need of help, they will approach her and she will help if she could. Gradually, the worker began to look at her not just as the chief's wife, but as someone who genuinely cared for them. Abiyiwa found joy in this small act of kindness. She may have been trapped in a marriage she never wanted, but in helping these people, she found a purpose. She spoke to the workers about their lives, their hopes, and their family, and in return, they shared their wisdom and story with her. Slowly, Abiyiwa became the quiet force of change on the estate and the farm and the workplace, earning their respect and admiration of those who worked there. Her relationship with Chief Adegoke, though still distant, began to shift slightly. He noticed the way the workers spoke of her with respect and gratitude. One evening, he asked her, "Why do you spend so much time with my workers? They are just workers, leave them alone." Abiola, not wanting to anger him, simply said, "Everyone deserves to be heard and cared for, even those who work in silence." Adegoke was silent for a moment, and though his face remained stoic, Abiola could see a hint of something in his eyes, perhaps a small understanding of her action. Though they were far from being a true partnership, Abiola's act of kindness slowly began to carve a space for herself in her new life. In the quiet moments when she was alone with her thoughts, Abiola would look over the vast estate and remind herself that no matter how difficult things became, she would continue to find a way to make her life matter, even in a world that seemed to want to keep her silent. Abiola's heart and spirit remained full of hope. Abiola's life on Chief Adegoke's estate has settled into a routine. Though their marriage was distant, she had found purpose in helping the workers and making her day meaningful. But one day, everything changed when she stumbled upon a secret that Chief Adegoke had been hiding. It began one evening when Abiola returned home earlier than usual after visiting the workers. As she walked through the large, quiet house, she heard muffled voice coming from Chief Adegoke's study. Curious, she moved closer and recognized the voice of the family doctor. She couldn't make out everything he was saying, but one word stood clearly out: illness. Was he sick? Her heart raced as she realized something was wrong with Chief Adegoke. He rarely spoke about his health, and although he was older, he just kept to himself, and he appeared strong to her. As the doctor left, Abiola cautiously entered into the study where he was sitting. "Chief," she said, as he stared out through the window. His face looked tired. His shoulders slumped as though the weight of the world was on him. "Chief," she said again, "is everything all right?" She asked softly, her voice hesitant but filled with concern. Chief Adegoke turned to her, surprised by her presence. For a moment, he seemed unsure of how to respond. Then, with a heavy sigh, he said, "I suppose you deserve to know, Abiola." He paused, his eyes searching her. "I'm not well, you know. The doctor said I have a condition, a sickness that cannot be cured, and I'm just living my time." Abiola's heart sank. She sat down across him, her mind racing. She could see the pain in his eyes, not just a physical pain, but the weight of what he was carrying alone. This secret was too much for him to bear alone. For the first time, she saw Chief Adegoke not as a powerful, distant man she had married, but someone vulnerable and very human. From that day on, Abiola's feelings towards her husband began to change. She no longer saw him as just the man she had been forced to marry, but as someone who needed care and compassion. Slowly, she started to look after him in small but meaningful ways. She would prepare his meal with special attention, ensuring they were healthy and comforting. She would sit by him every evening, reading to him or simply listening to him when he needed to speak. At first, Chief Adegoke was hesitant to let her help him. He had always been a proud man, unaccustomed to relying on others. But Abiola's quiet patience and genuine concern began to break his wall. Over time, he began to trust her little by little, sharing more about his fears and regrets. One day he said to her, "Abiola, I've spent my life building wealth," he admitted one evening, his voice heavy with emotion. "But now, I see how little it means without someone to share it with. And I see how you care so much about me." Abiola listened without judgment, her heart softening towards the man she had once resented. Though their marriage had begun without love, it was now built on something deeper: understanding and empathy. She didn't know what the future held with her and Chief Adegoke, but she promised herself as long as she could, she would stand by Chief Adegoke's side. In caring for him, she found a new strength within herself. She realized even in the hardest circumstances, her compassion could bring light to the darkest moments. And in return, Chief Adegoke began to see her not just as his young wife, but someone who truly he could rely on. It didn't take long for Abiowa's stepmother, Shade, to notice that Abiowa's new life as Chief Adegoke's wife came with access to wealth. The estate was vast, the house were filled with treasure, and Adegoke was a man of great influence. To Shade, this was an opportunity she couldn't ignore, and she felt she could manipulate Abiowa. So one afternoon, she arrived at the estate unannounced, her eyes scanning every corner of the grand home with greedy admiration. Abiowa greeted her stepmother politely, though she felt uneasy. Shade rarely visited unless she had a reason, and the reason usually involved money. After a few minutes of meaningless chatter, Shade got straight to the point. Abiowa, she said, leaning closer, her tone low and serious. You know you are the wife of the wealthiest man in this region, right? You need to take advantage of that. Don't just sit here and be wasting your time helping workers. Use your position now. Use your position, Abiowa. Have sense. Abiowa frowned, already dreading what was coming. What do you mean, mother? Shade's expression grew sharper. I mean, you should ask Chief Adegoke for more money, more gifts, more land. He can give you whatever you want. He's old. He's old and wealthy. He won't even miss it. And once you get it, you can send some of it to me. After all, if it weren't for me that arranged this marriage, you wouldn't even be here in the first place. Abiowa's stomach turned at her stepmother's words. I can't do that, she said firmly. Chief Adegoke has been very good to me, and I will never take advantage of this poor old man. Shade's face darkened with anger. Good to you? Don't be a fool, Jare. Abiowa, have sense. Do you think he married you out of love? He wanted a young and pretty wife to raise his status, and you were just the one right for him. And you know that I was the one that put you in this position, and now you are benefiting from him. You know you owe me. It's time for you to start paying me. It's time for you to start thinking about what your family needs. I sacrificed everything to give you this life. Don't you think I should have been in your position? Abiowa shook her head, her voice calm but resolute. I didn't ask for this life, stepmother. I won't betray Chief Adegoke's trust, not even for you. Her stepmother's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the room felt heavy with tension. Abiowa, 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 how many times did I call you? Abiowa said 3 times. You will regret this, she hissed, standing up abruptly. Don't think I won't find another way to get what I want. And then she stormed out of the house. Abiowa felt a mixture of anger and sadness. She had always known that her stepmother had been driven by greed, but hearing her speak so openly about it and using others to get what she wants, Abiowa realized how far Shade will go to get what she wanted. But Abiowa was not going to fall for this. That night, Abiowa sat by Chief Adegoke's side, silently vowed to protect his trust that he had placed on her. She refused to let her stepmother greed destroy the fragile peace she had worked so hard to build. For the first time, Abiowa understood that standing up to her stepmother Shade wasn't about protecting herself. It was about staying true to her values, no matter the cost. A week later, Abiowa's stepmother Shade came bearing gifts. She cooked a meal and brought a basket of fruit, something she had never done for Abiowa in her life, and this made Abiowa to be more guarded. Bringing up the subject again, Shade said sweetly, Abies, calling her the nickname that only her father called her. You see, I have been thinking about our conversation. The reason why I came was I only wanted the best for you. You deserve to enjoy the position as Chief Adegoke's wife. Don't just sit there now. Enjoy your position. If you don't ask for these things now, someone might come and shift you away and ask for it, and you'll be left with nothing. I'm just looking out for you, my child. Abiowa cited, her patience wearing thin. Stepmother, I have already told you, I won't take advantage of Chief Adegoke's kindness. I am his wife, not someone here to demand riches from him. I want to live my life with integrity and with peace. Shade's smile disappeared, replaced by a scowl. Integrity, she scoffed. Integrity. See who is talking about integrity. Will integrity feed your family? Abiyayiwa, answer me. Will it secure your future? You are so foolish. You are very foolish, Abiyayiwa. I put you in this position and you owe me something. What are you talking about? Integrity, my foot. Abiyayiwa looked at her stepmother in the eyes and said calmly, if being foolish means staying true to my value, then I would rather be foolish. I will not exploit Chief Adegoke, no matter what you say. Shade's face twisted with anger. After everything I've done for you, Abi, you dare to speak to me this way? Do you think that this world will last forever? You are nothing without me, Abiyayiwa. Don't forget that. Abiyayiwa stood her ground, her voice firm. I haven't forgotten anything, stepmother. I know how much you have controlled my life and that of my father. Even if my father will not stand up for himself, I will not let you control me. Please leave my house. You think that after forcing me to marry Chief Adegoke and that I will not find peace, now that I found peace, you now want to take it away from me? Please leave my house, mother. Fuming, Shade stormed out of the estate, but Abiyayiwa knew this wasn't the end. Her stepmother greed would not allow her to live in peace. Sure enough, Shade started spreading false rumor about Abiyayiwa, that Abiyayiwa was an ungrateful and selfish child. She even hinted that Abiyayiwa was hoarding wealth and sleeping with other men in the village and trying to turn the village against her. But all her plan did not work. Abiyayiwa heard all the whispers but refused to let them break her. She focused on her duties in the farm and estate, and also taking care of her sick husband and helping the workers in the estate. And deep in her heart, Abiyayiwa knew that no matter how hard Shade tried, she would never take away her courage or integrity. Over time, Chief Adegoke began to see Abiyayiwa in a new light. When they married, he had thought of her as nothing more than a young woman meant to complete his image as a wealthy and powerful man, a woman who would be a trophy beside him. But as the days turned into months and months turned into years, her action spoke louder than her words. She was kind, she had value, she had integrity and strength that could impress on any other person around her. He saw how she treated his workers on the estate. They respected her. She treated people with compassion and she had earned their loyalty and admiration. He noticed how she remained calm and graceful even in the face of her stepmother's gossip. She had never demanded anything from him except what was given to her. She had never used her position to ask for luxury, and she had never showed any form of greed. Instead, she worked quietly, bringing positivity and change to the estate and the farm, making it a better place for everyone. One evening, as they sat together after dinner, Chief Adegoke finally spoke about what had been on his mind. Then he said, Abiyayiwa, my beautiful wife, his voice softer than usual. You know, I've been watching you. You have a strength that I admire so much. You are not like anyone I've ever known. Abiyayiwa looked up at her husband, surprised, and said, Thank you, Chief, she said humbly. He leaned forward, his expression serious, and then held her hand. I realized that I have not treated you as I should. When we married, I saw you as only a young wife, someone to accompany me to events and live in my home. But you are so much more than that. Your heart, your mind are all very clean, and you have changed the quality of life around here and in my workplace. Abiyayiwa was unsure of what to say, but she listened as her husband continued. I have made many mistakes in my life, he admitted. One of them is underestimating you. But I want to make things different before I move. I know I don't have so much time, and I want to give you something that will allow you to truly make a difference. Abiyayiwa's eyes widened. What do you mean, my husband? What do you mean, Chief? He smiled faintly. I own several businesses, but one of them have been neglected for some time. It's a textile shop in the nearby town. I want you to take charge of it, manage it and grow it as if it's your own. In fact, it is your own. It is now your responsibility. Do with it as you will. It's not just a gift, it's an opportunity to show the world what you can do. Abiyayiwa was speechless for a moment. She had never imagined that Chief Adegoke would entrust her with such responsibility. You trust me with this? My chief, you trust me with this? Her voice filled with emotion. I do, my wife, he said firmly. You have proven yourself in so many ways, and I know you will succeed." Tears welled up in Abioyo's eyes, not because of the business itself, but because of what it represented, a chance to truly make up her own choices and have a purpose beyond the role of a wife. The next day, Chief Adegoke took her to the textile shop, introducing her to the workers and explaining that Abioyo is now the new CEO of the textile company. At first, some of the workers were hesitant, unsure if a young woman like her could lead them. But Abioyo quickly won them over with her thoughtful ideas and genuine interest in their well-being. Under her leadership, the business began to thrive. She brought fresh ideas to the textile company, improving in the quality of fabrics and introducing new designs. Customers started to flock the company and people began to buy, and the business was booming. Under 6 months, she had turned around the textile company. Her husband was so happy that his wife was a blessing in disguise to him. Chief Adegoke, seeing her natural leadership and innovative spirit, decided to entrust her with even greater things. This time, after eating their dinner, he told her, "I am entrusting you with another company. This is a chain of gold and gemstone. It is a trading business that I have long neglected. This I hand over to you. Can you take care of it for me?" Abioyo was so happy that her husband entrusted her with something so valuable. She was overwhelmed that Chief Adegoke, her husband, who she thought would control her life, had given her the freedom to shape her own destiny. She was so grateful that she hugged her husband. She worked tirelessly, expanding the business and using the wealth to uplift her home and the community. The workers were so happy that she had taken over the company once again. But fate had its own plan. One evening, Chief Adegoke fell gravely ill. Despite the best effort by all the doctors, he passed away peacefully in his sleep. But when the will was read after his burial, it sent shock waves through the village. He had left everything to Abioyo: the estates, the business, the wealth, the textile company, and the gold and gemstone business. It all belonged to her now. Shade, her stepmother, was livid. She was crazy. Her head wanted to burst. She had schemed, she had manipulated and forced Abioyo into marriage, hoping to benefit from Chief Adegoke's fortune. Now, watching Abioyo, this young lady, she had underestimated her. Now, Abioyo had become the wealthiest and the most influential person in the village. She was consumed by rage and regrets. She regretted ever marrying Abioyo to Chief Adegoke and wished she was the one. Desperate and humiliated, Shade confronted Abioyo and then said, "This should have been mine. You owe me everything I did for you," she spat. She was shouting, "You owe me. Please give me what belongs to me." But Abioyo only looked at her with calm and pity in her eyes. "You never did any of this for me, Shade," she called her stepmother by her name. "You only did this for yourself, and now you must live with the consequences of your greed." Shade left with nothing but only her bitterness, abandoned by the very person she had tried to manipulate. Meanwhile, Abioyo flourished and used her wealth to build schools, created jobs, empowered other women in her community, and transformed everyone who she could help. Standing at the edge of her estate one evening, feeling the cool breeze against her skin, she smiled as she had finally won, not through greed or deceit, but through kindness, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of a woman who refused to be caged by circumstances. She was no longer just Abioyo, the girl forced into marriage. She was Abioyo, the legacy that would inspire generations to come. If you have enjoyed our story, please like, subscribe for more inspiring tales. We would love to hear your thoughts and drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and also tell us where you are watching from. We'll see you in the next story.